All right, Shalom. This is Power Thumb of the Great Millstone Houston Camp. Salakia. This is Power Thumb of the Great Millstone Houston Camp, back with another lesson to edify the elect of the nation of Israel. So before I begin, as always, giving all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rachak, Radash, double honors to the elder apostles, the elder bishops, also to the elder high priest, the Talmud apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace, blessing, and salutation unto the elect of the nation of Israel, which consists of us so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, all Israelites scattered abroad, who will receive this truth, endure unto the end, be a part of the elect, get saved by Allah, Yahweh Shai, and the angels when they come on so-called UFOs, the chariots. So I want to start here in the book of Psalms, the 10th chapter, read these scriptures, get some precepts, and Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. In the first verse of the book of Psalms, the 10th chapter says, "Why standest thou afar off, O Yahweh? Ba'ashem Yahushai, why hidest thou self in times of trouble?" All right. So, Lord, all caps, is Yahweh. You have the pronunciation we have is through faith in the characters of the Hebrew. All right. You always got to go back. When you see the names, all right, the names are given to us in the Hebrew. All right. The scriptures in the book of Isaiah, the 19th chapter, was it Zechariah, turn into us a pure language. All right. So we don't speak fluent Hebrew. All right. Some brothers more than others, but we do have the names in Hebrew, which we must call on in the Hebrew. All right. For salvation. All right. And protection from the time of trouble in these last days. All right. And it seems as if the Most High, Yahweh, and His Son is standing afar off, because we're in captivity, we're under the heathen. All right. The Lord hasn't really announced Himself to the world by the judgments that He has prophesied that He will bring to the planet Earth, which ultimately is to take down Esau, the so-called white man, out of power, to have no authority but to be a slave, and to exalt the children of Israel. All right. So let's look at this precept I got plugged in. Isaiah 45:17. And it reads, "But Israel shall be saved in Yahweh with an everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end." Let's see. "For thus say Yahweh that created the heavens, God Himself that formed the earth and made it. He established it, He created it, not in vain. He formed it to be inhabited. I Yahweh, and there is none else." Let's see. That's not the verse I'm looking for. Good verses, but that's not what I'm looking for. I don't know. Just real quick. Bear with me. Okay, here it go. I don't know why I put that in there. Gotta change that. Alright. It reads Isaiah 45:15. Let's see. Boom. Boom. "Verily thou art a power that hideth thyself, O God of Israel, the Savior." All right. So the Lord, all right, He is a power that hideth Himself. Okay. And I believe it says that in another verse about the heathen, that the Lord is like a power that hideth Himself, even though everything is being controlled by Yahweh through Yahweh Shai. All right, and prophecy is taking place. The grand announcement, all right, and the grand appearance hasn't happened yet. All right. Even so, when you go into the mind of these so-called white people, all right, you got Psalms 50:21. These things hast thou done, and I have kept silence, which is, pretty much oppressing the children of Israel, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and being the wicked that the Bible speaks of on this earth. These things hast thou done, and I kept silent. That thou thoughtest that I was altogether such and one as thyself, but I will reprove thee and set them in order before thine eyes. All right. So even when you go into the mind of the so-called white man, the Lord hasn't jacked Esau, the so-called white man, up yet for being the whipping stick, all right, on the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right. It says, thou thoughtest thou was altogether such. Well, it says that these things hast thou done, and I kept silent. The Lord ain't did nothing, right? Because the scriptures had to be fulfilled to where Esau would build himself up as this great power on the earth, being the beast system, the 7 heads and 10 horns. All right. That's why the scripture says, for 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, he that let it will let until he, which is these Edomites, be taken out of the way. So the Lord kept silent and let Esau fulfill his role in prophecy. Verse 2 in Psalms, the 10th chapter, the wicked in his pride doth prosecute the poor. All right, and who are the poor? The poor are the Israelites. All right, we're at the bottom according to the curses, Deuteronomy chapter 28. All right, let's get that real quick. We the poor. We have nothing of our own. All right, scripture says that we will go to our enemy for the want of all things, everything. All right, Deuteronomy 28 and 44. I'll start at 43. The strangers, which are you non-Israelite heathen nations, that is within thee, shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. All right. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he command thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder upon thy seed forever. So we can look at out in the world and with the clues or the perspective of the scriptures and see who the children of Israel are, because there are signs. Who's at the bottom? All right. Who is being destroyed, and everything they do, it fails. Who has no prosperity? Who borrows everything? Who has nothing? The children of Israel, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who put themselves, all right, and gloat about it, that they're better and above the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. You so-called white people, you Chinese people, all right? We don't lend to you. We go to your grocery stores, so on and so forth. These are all the signs of us being the poor, all right? And us being the children of Israel, or the poor being the children of Israel. So the wicked in his pride doeth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. All right. Let's get Psalms 7 and 15. This is the book of Psalms 7 and verse 15. He made a pit and digged it. Who is he? Esau, the so-called white man. He made a pit, he digged it, and is fallen into the ditch which he made. All right. So like Wile E. Coyote. You ever seen that old cartoon? Wile E. Coyote, he always set up traps for the road runner, and he would get caught into his own traps. This is Esau. He's setting up these traps, which he said the whole system is a trap. Now you Edomites are getting trapped in your own systemic racism that was set up against the Israelites. his mischief shall return upon his own head. So all your mischievous deeds, it's all going to come back to you. You're going to have to pay for it. And his violent dealings shall come down upon his own pay. So all your violence, if you committed, violence is going to come back to you. I will praise Yahweh according to his righteousness, and will sing praise to the name of the Lord Most High. Right? As the scripture says, this is the hope and the prayer of the saints. Okay? Let's see real quick. This is, let's see. Yep. This honor have all his saints. This is Psalms 149:9. To execute upon them the judgment written, this honor have all his saints. Praise ye Yahweh. So this is an honor. Alright. To see Esau, the so-called white man, get paid back for all of his wickedness. Verse 5, his ways are always grievous. Thou judgments are far above his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at him. Yeah, Esau ways, okay, are always grievous, and this is why the world is, especially here in America, is in such a chaotic, all right, immoral, oppressed, degenerate state, all right, crying out because Esau, the so-called white man. Psalms, Proverbs 29:2, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear rule, the people mourning. Why are the people mourning? Because Esau is the wicked that is putting grievous ways on the world, right? Put all of these taxes, all these immoral laws into place, all right? He's taking everybody's resources. All right, people have nothing to look forward to. All right, his ways are always grievous. Not to mention us, the righteous. You look at Esau's ways of homosexuality, putting women over men. All right, re-educating our children, sending them to school, vaccines. All right, polluting the water, polluting the airs. All right, messing with the food. Okay, his ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at him. So Esau, he doesn't honor the law, statutes, commandments. Okay, he doesn't look at the law, statutes, commandments as anything noble, or exalt the law, statutes, and commandments. Okay, they are far above out of his sight. He don't understand them. Right? It goes over his head, his wicked head. Right? As for all his enemies, he puffeth at him. Yep. And I'm gonna get this last precept, and I'll pick back up on this, and I probably got right here. He puffeth at him. That's Esau, the so-called white man. Thinks he's better than everybody. This is Daniel. All right, 7:20. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, the other is America, and before whom 3 fell, French, Spanish, and Britain, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that speak very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. That's Esau. His look is more stout than his fellows, right? His European fellows. That's why people don't like America. So they're proud, they're arrogant, right? They're boastful. Okay, this is Esau, the so-called white man. All right, Lord willing, this was edifying, giving all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shem Yahushua, Bashem Hakwadash, Brakathum, and Shalom.